So I've been wanting to make this video for several years now, and I just hadn't got around to making it. But anyways, as preppers, one of the big concerns that we always have is lighting, because we know that after SHTF, we're probably not going to be able to just go and flip a light switch on. Now, before we go any further into this video, I know that there's some people that's watching this video that's just itching to type in light discipline. Don't forget about light discipline. But folks, this video is not about light discipline. It's about a cheap way for preppers to have lights for a long time after SHTF. So when I very first started prepping, I ran out and I bought several of these oil lamps, also known as hurricane lamps. But one of the issues that I have with these oil lamps is that unless you have a way to make it, pretty soon or eventually you're going to run out of oil or fuel for it. And these things can be dangerous too. I mean, with the open flame, they'll get pretty hot. And there's also been a lot of fires that's been started when these things have accidentally gotten knocked over. And then several years ago, I discovered the solar lamps or solar lanterns, whatever you want to call them. And these are usually what I buy now rather than the old-fashioned hurricane lamps. And one of the other things that I like about these is that these usually run about $20 each. So that puts these, well into the range of most of us poor preppers that are out there. Now, it's been my experience that these are not usually as bright as the oil lamps. But again, they're safer and they're not going to cause a fire if they get knocked over. And the other thing that I like about these is that you don't have to worry about storing the extra kerosene or the extra oil for these. You can just simply set them outside in the sun and then they recharge for you. I mean, for me, if you have to have oil or fuel for a piece of gear to work, eventually you're going to run out of that oil or that fuel. But with something like this, where you have the free energy from the sun to keeps it going. So now what I do is, instead of every once in a while of me purchasing one of those hurricane lamps or one of those oil lamps, is now every once in a while I will purchase one of these. And what I want is I want one of these for every member of my family in case somebody needs to leave to go use the restroom or something like that when it's dark out, after dark. Then I also still want a couple more just for backup, because like anything electronic, eventually these will break down. So having a couple more as backups will help to extend the light that we'll have after SHTF even further. Now, I'm not going to completely do away with my oil lamps. In fact, if I come across a good deal on some of the kerosene or the oil, I will go ahead and buy that, because those will end up being the backup to these. Now, I don't know about where you live at, but in my area, during the winter time, during a couple months during the winter time, it can get gray and just gloomy over the area for days or a couple weeks at a time where we have hardly any sunlight. So that would be a time period, or that would be kind of a time there that these probably wouldn't work as good as a hurricane lantern would. So I'm definitely keeping those kerosene lamps or the oil lamps as backup for this. This will be what I will mainly use. Those others will be the backups. Now, I think most of these will stay lit. If you have them turned up on full bright, I think most of them will stay lit for about 4 to 5 hours. Which I think will probably, for most situations, will be longer than what you'll need. Now, what I personally do is I just keep these next to a sunny window. That way they're always getting fed sunlight, they're always being kept topped off, and then if I need it, I can just grab it and turn it on and use it for a couple minutes. And another thing that's kind of cool about a lot of these that's on the market is they will have a USB port on them. So if you have this thing fully charged, you can actually hook your cell phone up on it and recharge your cell phone if need be. Now, after SHTF, there's probably going to be a high likelihood we won't have cell coverage. We won't be able to make phone calls with our cell phones. But a lot of people have simple games on their phones that could, maybe be a morale booster after SHTF. So I'll be putting a link to some of the solar lanterns down in the description box below. But let's hear from the rest of the prepping community. What are you doing for light after SHTF, and what is your thoughts on the solar lanterns? And do you have solar lanterns yourself? Or do you only have the old-fashioned oil lamps? Or do you have other ways that you plan on doing lighting after SHTF? And if you would like to see a cheap little $20 stove that would be perfect for preppers, something that would be perfect to throw in a bug out bag, something that allows you to burn twigs and leaves to cook with, then click on the video that should be appearing at the top of the screen just about now to learn more about that. And to see how you can protect your bug out location and also yourself from marauders after SHTF, then click on the video that should be appearing on the right side of the screen just about now to learn more about that. Anyways folks, if you made it this far, hey, thank you very much for watching, and I pray that you have a good night.